Monster City Madhouse, a year-round online store full of Halloween and classic horror shirts, with an emphasis on the vintage look. Use code SAVE10 for 10% off your order. MonsterCityMadhouse.com. Free shipping and financing's available. Welcome back to Southern Ghost Stories, Tennessee Tales Tuesday. I'm the American Historian, Allen Sircy, and I'm glad you're joining me today. And I hope you guys are enjoying the new format and the new show within a show. I love talking about weird, wild Tennessee folklore, and today we're traveling deep into the hills of East Tennessee to explore one of the strangest and least known chapters in state history. The only documented witch trial ever in Tennessee. That's right, Tennessee had a witch trial. I guess it was more like a warlock trial. The witch they accused was actually a man. So when you think witch trials, you think Salem, Massachusetts, up in New England. But there were trials all over the country. South Carolina had one. Ohio did too. Virginia, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts wasn't the only state. Our country was a very primitive, religious place. It was a different time. A strange time. So, the Fentress County, Tennessee witch trial. The year was 1835. Long before paved roads reached through the Cumberland Plateau, Jamestown, Tennessee was a rugged frontier community surrounded by dense forests and steep river valleys. In those isolated mountain settlements, superstition thrived alongside religion. Stories of witches, omens, curses, and spirits are woven into everyday life. And many settlers genuinely believed dark forces could move among them unseen. And at the center of this bizarre story, it's an elderly recluse. It was an old man. His name was Joseph Stout. But the locals, they called him Old Man Stout. You see, Old Man Stout, he lived alone in a small cabin near the Obed River and spent most of his time reading books on philosophy and religion. And he read them there by candlelight. And that may not sound unusual today, but in rural Tennessee during the 1830s, a man living in isolation and studying strange books outside the teachings of the local church, it immediately attracted suspicion. Children from nearby families also lived there in the village. They crept to his windows at night to watch him read beside the flickering candlelight. What's this kooky old man doing? Let's go find out. Stories soon spread throughout the community that Old Man Stout possessed supernatural powers. Some claim he could cast spells. Others swore he could transform himself into smoke and pass through locked doors and keyholes without ever being seen. And then came the illness that changed everything, flipped the community on its head. A young girl named Rebecca French, whose family was well known in the area, suddenly became violently sick. And as her condition worsened, rumors spread that she'd been bewitched by Old Man Stout. And desperate for answers, Rebecca's family summoned him to their home, believing he might somehow remove the affliction that they thought he had caused. According to local accounts, the moment Stout walked into the room, Rebecca began trembling uncontrollably. She began to vomit. She passed out. Her father, who was scared to death, he immediately confronted the old man and demanded, "Turn over your belt." Reluctantly, Old Man Stout gave him his belt. Well, when the belt was wrapped around Rebecca, witnesses claimed her condition suddenly, mysteriously improved. To the family, that was all the proof they needed. Old Man Stout was behind it all. Rebecca's father demanded that Stout physically touch the girl and remove the curse completely. But the old man insisted he didn't possess any supernatural powers. And he tried to shuffle out the door, tried to get away. Well, Rebecca's father is furious. He marched to the square to find Squire Joshua Owens and demanded a warrant for Stout's arrest on charges of witchcraft. Well, shockingly, the magistrate, he agreed. Word spread quickly across Jamestown that a witch hunt was underway. Armed men gathered after dark and marched toward old Man Stout's cabin carrying silver-cast bullets, believing ordinary ammunition couldn't stop a warlock. But everyone knows a silver bullet can take down a witch. Under the cover of night, the posse stormed the small cabin near the river and dragged the old man into town after a violent struggle. Bruised, battered, and terrified, old Man Stout was hauled before the court and formally accused of bewitching Rebecca French. Witnesses lined up to testify against him. Some claimed he had cursed their livestock. He had caught droughts and ruined their farms. Others insisted they'd seen him perform strange acts or vanish mysteriously into thin air. Fear and superstition had completely overtaken reason in Fentress County. Squire Owens ultimately ruled there was enough evidence to move the case to circuit court. But when the trial reached Judge Abraham Carruthers, the entire case began to collapse. Attorney General John McCormick refused to prosecute Stout, and he argued Tennessee had no legal statute recognizing witchcraft as a crime. Judge Carruthers agreed, explaining that Old English witchcraft laws held absolutely no authority in Tennessee courts. The decision outraged everyone in attendance. Some people reportedly whispered that Old Man Stout, he bewitched both the judge and attorney general in order to save himself from the conviction. And despite the chaos surrounding the trial, Old Man Stout did something almost no one expected. He sued the men who attacked him. And even a stranger twist, the jury ruled in favor of the accused witch. They awarded him a sizable judgment against the mob that dragged him from his cabin. And afterward, Old Man Stout largely disappeared from public life. He occasionally resurfaced in Jamestown to conduct business, but locals claimed he never stayed long. According to legend, witnesses sometimes swore they saw the old man vanish into a strange cloud of smoke before disappearing back into the hills along the Obed River. And whether Joseph Stout was truly a misunderstood recluse, or simply the victim of fear and superstition, his case remains one of the strangest courtroom stories in Tennessee history. And nearly 2 centuries later, it stands as the only documented witch trial the volunteer state has ever known. And if you want to learn more about Tennessee folklore, check out my books, Southern Ghost Stories, Tennessee Tales 1 and 2. That's right, there's 2 of them. I'm even working on a 3rd. That's another year off or 2. Anyway, lots of weird ghost stories and folklore all over Tennessee. I mean, from Memphis to Bristol, Nashville, Knoxville, there's so much weird, wild stuff all over Tennessee. Oh, and also, speaking of books, don't forget to check out my new book, Pistols at Red River, the Andrew Jackson dueling story. There's actually 2 duels in the book. Hollywood couldn't make up what was going on in Nashville back in 1806. So, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure you subscribe, follow the show, leave a review. They help more than you think. Share with somebody who'd be into this kind of story. If you can find Southern Ghost Stories on Facebook and Instagram, drop us a line, send us a question or a topic you'd like to hear us discuss. I plan on doing a Q&A show probably in 2 or 3 weeks, and you guys send me questions. I've already got a few from some people, and I plan on diving in on those and, just trying to answer your questions and just talk about some spooky stuff I've seen and done, and, it's all good fun. But have you guys been to Monster City Madhouse yet? MonsterCityMadhouse.com. The new shirt's a whole lot of fun. The Bride of Frankenstein, she's spoken. And honestly, she may have a point. The Mini Monsters tee throws together a chaotic crew of pint-sized creatures, creepy cuteness, and vintage Halloween cartoon vibes into one gloriously weird design. Featuring tiny vampires, little mummies, swampy troublemakers, and one very unimpressed bride rocking the legendary line, "Boys are gross." I'm not so sure about that. Anyway, so make sure you check out our friends over at MonsterCityMadhouse.com, and also use code SAVE10 to get 10% off your order. My buddy Ben runs that site, and he makes some incredible t-shirts. So make sure you guys go support him. And if you want to come see me and Ben, we'll actually be at Spawn of Scarefest the weekend of June 6th. Really looking forward to that. It's going to be a big show in Lexington, Kentucky. You can find tickets at scarefest.com. But yeah, it's the weekend of June 6th, June 5th, 6th, and 7th. It's a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday show. Looking forward. I'll be signing books, be hanging out with people, talking. They're actually going to show Jaws that night in the pool. The Scarefest people are taking over this Marriott. The whole campus is going to be nothing but just Scarefest. You're going to have celebrities. You're going to have panels. You're going to have workshops. You're going to have movies. It's going to be crazy. Vendors. I'll be there. Yeah, they're going to show Jaws one night in the pool. That's going to be kind of fun. They're going to set up a movie screen and show Jaws. Well, yeah, that's another story. Anyway, so yeah, this has been Southern Ghost Stories, Tennessee Tales Tuesday. Check back tomorrow. I got some more fun, creepy stuff for you. I'm Allen Sircy, and I'll see you guys next time.